we shall look at the process of installation of Java and Eclipse in our discussion today. Okay. Now, generally, when we do an installation, we tend to download an exe and click next, 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 and that's pretty much we do, right? But there is more to it, which we need to understand as we get started. And the reason is, when we look at the advanced topics in Java, we need to know the process of installation, what we actually did, what is path environment variable, and few other things. Okay, I will explain all that to you. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, we have to go and download Java and Eclipse. Okay, I'll share or show the links to you, although I have it already downloaded on my machine, but still. So let me go to this link here where I have, so I'll open this file here, Google Docs. So this is the link to download Java. I will just show that how and where you can download it from, although I have it already downloaded on my machine. Okay, so once I'm trying to download Java 8. You can download a prior or a next version, whichever you want to use, but 8 is more than sufficient for us. Okay, so you have to come here and click on accept license. Once you do that, you have an option to select whether it is a Windows 64 Java you want to download, or 32, or for Solaris, or any other operating system, right? So how do you find out whether which operating system you have? If you are using Windows, for example, you can say go to PC, and you can come and check here that it is a 64-bit operating system I have, right? For maybe Mac, there is a command uname -a. If you type it on the terminal, so let me show that command to you. So if you are using Mac or Linux or something else, you can simply type this name uname -a, right? I mean, it will maybe show you the details of your operating system that you have, right? Or you can just Google and how to find out the OS details. You can pretty much find out whether it's a 32 or a 64-bit operating system, right? And appropriately, then you can choose to download. So if you will see, there is only one option for Mac, right? So there is nothing much to worry. You have to download it and install it, right? Which is a DMG file, which is an installable, right? So once you accept the condition here, you can click on this link and it will start the download for you, right? I'm not going to download it because I have already done it for myself earlier. So if I go to downloads here, I'll go to Selenium folder here. What was that? J. Okay, it seems I have put here. Yeah, here I have it downloaded here, right? So this is a 32-bit I have, this is a 64-bit I have, right? So I have both of them downloaded here, the executable files. Now what I'm going to do is, generally, and this is not mandatory, but as a good practice, what we are going to do is, in one of the directory, I'm going to create a folder called Selenium classes, right? And what is the reason to do that? So that everything that we are going to do of with respect to installation, creating a workspace and other things, we'll put it here. Why? Because if you put it in all different places, you will also forget what is where, right? So this is a good way to keep yourself organized, because we are going to do a lot of installation, around 10-15 things we'll install, and a lot of downloads will happen, right? So why struggle and find things here and there? I'll keep all of the things here in Selenium classes, right? So here I had said downloads, although I have not put it here, but you can keep all your files in this particular downloads. Fine. Now what I'm going to do is, my download is already done here, right? So I'm going to, where was my download? Here I'll go to Java. This is the 64-bit I want to install. Now in the Selenium classes, I have created a folder Java. Here I'll call it Java 8. Why? Because I'm installing Java 8, right? So I'm going to make it Java 8. Fine. Now let's start the installation. So for installation, what you have to do is, you will double click on this exe file. So it will start the installation process. So So let's wait for it to launch. Okay, so here I have the executable, it's up. So I'll say next. Now, when I come here, what I'm going to do is there is an option install to. So I mean, it is your wish if you want to keep it here, but I generally want to keep it in one place where I would in future remember where I've installed my softwares, right? So I'll copy this path up till Java 8. I'll copy this and I'll replace this Java here with this path, right? You can even browse it and go to that location if you want to, right? By going in this arrow and navigating to that direction, right? You can either do it this way, but I prefer to do it like this. So I have put that path Java 8 slash JDK 8, right? So this is version 8.171. I'll say okay. Okay, then I'll say next. So it has changed to that path. I'll say next here and installation has started, if you will see, right? So it will create a folder for us here. So let's wait for a few minutes. So if you will see, JDK is getting installed. Now Java contains two things. One is JDK and one is JRE. JDK is for compiling the code, JRE is for running the code. So just now the JDK installation is happening, right? So I will create one folder with the same version, but I'll call it JRE here, new JRE, right? JRE, fine. So let's see how far we have gone in that. So it is still installing the JDK for me. Okay, now here it is asking to install JRE for me, right? So I'll change this. Fine, I'll go to, it's in my where D drive, Selenium classes, Java 8, JRE folder I created, right? I'll say okay and I'll say next and my JRE installation will start. So if you will see JRE inside that file started to appear. Okay, so this is the process of installation, and with this we understand that Java installation means installation of JDK as well as JRE, right? It will take couple of more minutes and after that we will look at how we set up the environment variables, right? But before we look at that, I will explain to you what is environment variable and then we will look at setting up of environment variable. Why it is all important? Because eventually all these details you will need when we look at advanced topic like Maven, Jenkins and other topics. All this will come back to you. Okay, so make sure you understand it properly what I'm explaining here. Okay, so we are done with the installation. I'll say close, right? Now before I move on to the next step of setting environment variables, let's take up a small uh, example, or let's get into a small discussion and then we will come back here. So let's say I have a room here. I have a room 1 here and I have one more room here, right? Right? And I'm going to call this as A. So coming back, let's say there is a room A and room B, right? If a person is in room A, he or she cannot talk to person in a room B, right? Until they know that where either one of them is. Yes, no. Similarly, if I install Java in a directory here in room A, which is nothing but a folder which I have here, which is maybe Java, JDK, all this folder, right? So let's say I have on installation in the JDK, there is a folder called bin, there is a file called Java. If you will see here, JA, this is the one, right? So if I have a file in room A, when I say room A, in this case it is folder A, I cannot access it from room B, right? What I mean by that is, for example, let's say, okay, so let's say here I say Java, right? So I'm in which folder? C user Naresh, right? If I enter Java here, it says Java is not recognized as internal or external command, right? Now, why? Because in this folder C uses Naresh, let's open that. If I go inside here, is there Java anywhere? No, it is not. Where it is instead? It is in this directory, right? So my Java is here in room B, but I am searching for it in room A and it cannot find it, right? So what do? I have to go from this directory or this room to that room where there is Java. So what is this location? This is the location. I'll copy it and I will change my location to that directory, right? Once I go inside here, I'll say dir, I'll see Java here, it is there. And if I type Java, it shows some output, meaning that that command has got executed, right? So when I go from this directory to this directory, I can execute the command because Java is in that particular folder, right? Now another way to execute it is, let's say I go back to the original location, C uses Naresh. If I want to run Java from here, what I can say is I'll copy this path slash Java, right? We can do like this also, but this is not a very advisable way. Sometimes path can be very big, it can take a lot of time to type, right? So this is not how we always want to do it, right? Although there is nothing wrong with it, but that's not how we want to do it. So what is a better way to do it? There is a concept of environment variables. What is an environment variable? So environment variables are dynamic objects. Why they are dynamic? Dynamic because the value can change. So I can set an environment variable. One of them is path. But what happens that when you run a command in directory A or folder A from the command prompt, it will look for that exe Java exe in that directory, right? If it does not find, it will check the environment variable, which is path. Okay, in the path I will specify the location of Java. Okay, so here I will say in the path that it is in this directory, so then it will execute the command Java from that directory where the Java is residing. So what I mean by that is, I have to copy this path. I have to go to right click, properties. I have to go to advanced system setting, go to environment variables, and there is a path variable here, PATH, path environment variable. You have to edit it, okay, and you have to add it at that. Okay, so generally I move it at the top. You can keep it where it is, but whenever I add new entry, I always move it at the top. Okay, now what will happen when you again run that same command? Okay, so now let me uh, close all this command prompt. Now this change which you have done for environment variable will reflect in the new session of command prompt. If you still run in the old session, it will not execute. So I have to open a new CMD. If I say echo percentage PATH%, right? So let's see what is the output. It gives me the output of that entire path. Somehow it is not set properly. It's showing this path. Okay, so here you will see that there is this path, right? Java 8, this is where we have just installed, right? So if I now run Java, inside this there is a Java. It will run the Java from this directory, and now we are able to run Java from this location as well, right? So this is a concept of installation of Java on your machines. Same way there is an environment variable in Linux as well as Mac machines. There is a different way of setting it, but the concept remains same, right? So this is how you download it, how you install it, and how you set your environment variable called path. And this concept of path is going to be very useful in the upcoming sessions. Okay, Now that we have set up a Java, now next thing which we'll do is we'll set up Eclipse. Okay, so again I will go to this link here where I have my Eclipse. So I will share these links with you in some time, but you will go to this link here, and I'm going to make use of Neon, Eclipse Neon. You can use any version, but let's all of us keep it Neon so that it's easy for us and consistent. Now there are various installers of Eclipse available to you. Please use this version. If you will come down, IDE for Java EE developer. E is important because we are going to create some XML files also. If you take a simple Java IDE, it will not really work. Maybe if you have this one, it might not be really very useful, right? So we will take the one with this IDEs for EE developer, and depending upon your OS, either you will take 32-bit or a 64-bit, right? And then you click on 64-bit, it will take you to a location or an image, mirror image from where you can download it, right? And then select another mirror if you want to. So click on this file, download will start. I have it already downloaded on my machine locally here, so I'm not going to do the download. So if I go to downloads, if I go to Eclipse, you will see that I have it already downloaded, right? So you unzip it. After you unzip it, you can come here and you can click on this file called eclipse.exe. So what it will do is it will open up for you successfully, provided you have done the setting of path environment variable properly. It will open up and it will give you an option to create a workspace. What is a workspace? Workspace is the space which contains details of all your work. So let's say I create a new workspace. I'll call it it is December 2018, right? So when you do this and if you click on OK, it will create a workspace, and in that workspace there will be a blank uh, screen sort of, wherein we'll create a project. So let me show that to you. Let the screen come up. So this might take a little while depending upon the speed of your machine and other things. Okay, now while the installation is in process, what is Eclipse? Eclipse is a editor. Like Notepad is an editor, Notepad++ is an editor. Eclipse is a very powerful editor with a lot of enhanced capabilities. It does a lot of things for you. It makes a life easy with respect to development, and I will explain that to you how it is powerful. But just remember that Eclipse is an IDE, integrated development environment. It's like a very powerful editor. Okay, so you can maximize this, and then you can close this welcome screen. There are some tutorials and samples available if you want to read them. I'll close here, right? And I'll create my first project, right? How do we create a project? So since we are going to get started with Java, I'll go to File, I'll go to New, I'll go to Other. Okay, here there is an option of Java project, or you can type here Java. It will filter and only show Java here, right? So you'll choose Java project and you'll say next, right? And you can give your first you can call it core Java, for example, core Java, or give any name of your choice, and then you can simply finish here, right? So this is how you basically go about creating your first project in Java. It will ask for this whether you want to keep this perspective, say yes, and your first project is created. Okay, so this is pretty much about Java installation process and Eclipse setup in your machines.